The movie opens with Kevin Flynn, the CEO of a technological company called Income. He is currently telling his 7-year-old son Sam about his adventures in the grid, a completely digital world. It's created by Kevin, along with his counterpart, Clue, and a computer program, Tron. Kevin claims to have discovered something amazing within the grid, a miracle. Sam asks what it is, but his father holds the story for next time and puts him to bed. But before Kevin leaves for work, he invites his son to go to the arcade tomorrow and tosses a coin to him. The scene then cuts to a montage of news articles and television reports about the mysterious disappearance of Kevin. This news puts Income's future in a state of jeopardy as the company shares had skyrocketed while Kevin was the CEO. One of his friends, Alan Bradley, insists that Kevin is not missing and is instead pursuing his dream of discovering something magical, but nobody believes in him. 20 years later, we see a grown-up Sam, who is now the primary shareholder of Income. One night, he rides his motorcycle towards Income Tower and breaks into the building. Evading all the security cameras, he makes his way upstairs to his server room, intending to manipulate the company's newest operating system, OS 12. In the meantime, a board meeting is being held where the current chairman, Richard Mackey, presents the OS 12. He states that this operating system, which was previously sold for free, will now be a paid software because it's one of the safest softwares in the world. However, Sam manages to hack into the Income system and releases the OS 12 to the public for free. Just then, a security guard notices the breach and chases him to the roof. Sam then reveals his true identity as the largest shareholder of the company. Before jumping off the building, he parachutes safely to the ground. But before he can get to his motorbike, he gets surrounded by the police and is arrested for trespassing. A few hours later, Sam makes bail and returns home, which is a shipping container refitted as an apartment. Upon arrival, he finds Alan, who commends him on his latest prank. Turns out, it is an annual event that Sam performs on the day of his father's disappearance. Sam then asks for the reason why he's here, to which Alan tells him about a page signal he received from Kevin's office in the arcade, which has been disconnected for 20 years. Alan also shares a story about Kevin, who came to his place 2 days before he disappeared, and claimed that he had cracked the code about quantum teleportation. Alan then hands over the arcade key to Sam, urging him to check it out. Sam reluctantly follows the tip and heads to the arcade. Once there, he finds a secret doorway behind his father's arcade game, which leads him down into a confined control room. Sam explores through his father's computer and inadvertently activates a digitizing laser behind him. As a consequence, it emits a ray, sending him straight into the grid. A confused Sam then walks out from the arcade building, only to realize that the environment has completely changed. Soon after, he's captured by a spacecraft-like vessel called Recognizer on board, and he is assigned to participate in the games. Sam is then taken to a room where he is equipped with armor and an identity disc. Following this, he is delivered to Disc Wars Arena, where he has to fight several other computer programs and overpower all of them to win. Despite being initially nervous, Sam swiftly adapts to the combat style and starts defeating the opponents one after another. He eventually makes it to the final round, where he faces a professional program named Rinsler. Rinsler turns out to be a much stronger and experienced fighter who quickly subdues Sam. When the program is about to deliver his final blow, he notices Sam bleeding and suddenly recognizes him as a user. As a result, he takes him to the grid's boss, who resembles Kevin exactly. Amazed to see his father, Sam asks if they can go home, but his request is denied. The boss then introduces himself as Clue, a counterpart of Kevin. After a brief conversation, Sam is assigned for another game, Light Cycle Grid. While being prepared for the game, he is secretly observed by a masked woman from a distance. For this game, Sam is provided with his own team, and his opponent is none other than Clue and his faction. Everyone is assigned with their own futuristic motorcycle, and the last man standing wins. Soon after, the battle begins, and the members from both teams are slowly eliminated one by one. Eventually, Sam and Clue are left as the sole survivors. Wasting no time, Clue launches his attack on Sam, making him fall off his bike. But before he can come back for the final blow, Sam is picked up by the earlier masked woman in her car and driven away from the arena. The woman introduces herself as Cora and takes him to a secluded house. There, Sam finally meets his real father, leading to an emotional reunion. Between the two, "My dad is the dude. Come here, buddy." At dinner, Kevin asks Sam if he has any questions in his mind. The latter replies that he only has one question: why his father never came back home. Kevin then explains that he has been working to create a perfect computer system and had appointed Clue and Tron as its co-creators. Also, he couldn't find the milk. One day, the trio discovered a new, naturally occurring program called isomorphic algorithms, Kevin referred to as the miracle earlier. Their makeup included biodigital genetics that Kevin believed could revolutionize the world. However, Clue saw them as imperfections, so he orchestrated a coup and ambushed Kevin and Tron, taking control of the system. Kevin somehow managed to escape, but the portal back to the real world closed on him, leaving him trapped. As for Tron, he was never seen again. Kevin adds that the portal can only be opened from the outside of the grid. With Sam's arrival, the portal is currently open, but it'll close after exactly 8 hours. Hearing this, Sam argues that they have time to escape, but his father refuses to go because it's exactly what Clue wants. Kevin discloses that his identity disc is the master key and the only way to traverse the portal. As a result, Clue expects Sam to bring his father to the portal so that he can take the master key and travel to the human world to impose his idea of perfection. Moreover, he's certain that it was Clue who sent the page message to Alan, not him. Despite this, Sam is still optimistic that if he can make it to the portal, even without his dad, he and Alan can shut down Clue from the outside. Understanding Sam's frustration, Cora goes to his room later and offers help. She then tells him about a program in the city named Zeus, who might be able to provide him with a safe passage to the portal. With this information in hand, Sam takes his father's vintage vehicle and goes in search of Zeus. Upon arriving in the city, he abandons the vehicle in the middle of the road. This allows Clue's operatives to locate it and further trace its point of origin, Kevin's secluded house. Meanwhile, Kevin finds his son missing, so he ultimately decides to come out of hiding and go after his son. After wandering around for a while, Sam is approached by a woman, Jem, who offers to take him to Zeus' club. Once there, he meets an eccentric guy, Castor, who promises to take him to Zeus. However, Castor instead brings him to his private room, where he reveals himself to be Zeus. On the other hand, Clue and his henchmen travel to Kevin's house, but find the place empty. Back at the club, Sam asks for Zeus' help to reach the portal, and the latter pretends to oblige. But in an unexpected turn of events, he betrays Sam in favor of Clue, whose guards soon infiltrate the club. A fierce battle that ensues between Sam and Clue's guards. Not long after, Cora and Kevin show up at the scene to assist him. Unfortunately, Cora's arm is cut off amidst the fight, forcing them to flee. As the trio makes their way out, one of the Clue's guards manages to steal Kevin's disc, and Zeus seizes it from the guard. In the aftermath, Sam and Kevin argue over their next course of action, with the latter berating his son for not obeying him. They then decide to board a freight train called Solar Sailor, which will take them to the portal before Clue can get there. On their way, Kevin repairs Cora's arm, during which she reveals that she is the last surviving ISO. In the meantime, Clue arrives at the club where Zeus hands over the identity disc to him, hoping that both of them could build a mutual relationship. However, Clue betrays him and blows up the entire club, along with Zeus and Jim. Back on the Solar Sailor, Cora wakes up after a successful reboot. She then has a brief conversation with Sam, during which she shares her story about how she met his father. Turns out that Kevin saved her from Clue's assault during the purge. As their conversation unfolds, Cora expresses her desire to see what the real world looks like. All of a sudden, the Solar Sailor's route gets diverted, leading them to a massive carrier ship. In a quick action, they hide among the cargo units of the Sailor. Once they enter, they discover that Clue is repurposing programs. In order to form his own army, they then see Rinsler approaching the Sailor, which freaks them out. At this moment, Cora realizes that they don't have much time left, so she deliberately gets captured. This allows Kevin and Sam to move out of the place. Kevin also learns that Rinsler is none other than his old friend Tron. As the duo look around the place, they find Clue giving an announcement to his army. With Kevin's disc and his possession, he intends to use it to allow passage into the real world. Hearing this, the father and son decide to split up. Kevin has to find a plane for their escape, while Sam goes to retrieve the master key, as well as to rescue Cora. Kevin makes his way to the light jet hangar, where he reprograms a guard, allowing him to access one of the vehicles. Meanwhile, Sam makes his way to Clue's docking tower, where he fights off the guards and successfully retrieves his father's disc. Just then, he's confronted by Rinsler, who is holding Cora hostage. Both of them have a rematch, but this time with Cora's help. Sam manages to disarm him and leave him hanging over the ledge. Following this, Sam and Cora leap off the tower and reunite with Kevin before flying away in a jet. However, the threat isn't neutralized yet, as Clue, Rinsler, and their henchmen chase the trio. Sam, with his machine gun, and Cora, with her piloting skills, manage to eliminate all of the henchmen, leaving only Clue and Rinsler in pursuit. At one point, Kevin makes eye contact with Rinsler, causing him to regain his memories of being Tron. As a result, he abandons the chase and deliberately collides with Clue before falling into the sea of simulation. Below, as the trio fly towards the portal, Kevin cleverly asks Cora to swap their identity disc. Upon arrival there, confronted by Clue, who claims that he was simply following the directive programmed into him, he further asserts that it was Kevin who betrayed his promise to make a perfect world together. Kevin acknowledges his fault, but also says perfection is impossible because it's unknowable. This infuriates Clue, so he ends up attacking Kevin. But despite the chaos, Kevin yells at Sam and Cora to continue to the portal. Simultaneously, Clue seizes what he believes to be Kevin's disc, only to discover that it's Cora's. By this time, Sam uses the real master key to activate the portal. He watches tearfully and with pride as his son and Cora depart. He then merges himself with Clue, which causes a huge explosion and destroys the entire virtual world. Back in the real world, Sam saves the grid system onto a microchip, which he wears around his neck. He then pages Alan, summoning him to the arcade. Sam shares his decision to take over Income and says that he wants Alan as a chairman. As he walks out of the arcade, he's greeted by Cora, who asks what they'll do next. In response, Sam tells her that he has something to show her and takes her for her ride on his motorcycle. As they hit the countryside road, Cora is awestruck to witness the view of a beautiful sunrise for the first time.